Yesterday you read the story, Nate the Snake is Late. We will be looking at that story more closely today. Nate the Snake is a fantasy. Remember that a fantasy story has imaginary characters and settings and events that could not happen in real life. Fantasy stories are also told by a narrator. Now, all stories have a narrator, or someone who tells the story. When the narrator is one of the characters in the story, the character will use words like I, or me, and my. So these are words we might see in the story that helps us know when the narrator is a character in the story. This is also called first-person point of view. So today while we're reading, we're going to look for I, my, or me to help us identify who the narrator might be. Is it a character in the story? Here we go. So, it is 8 o'clock and I cannot be late. I do not wish to make my pals wait. I must be there at 10:30, but I have lots of time until then. So I want to think, who is telling the story? Well, I notice right away that there's the word I, there's the word my like we mentioned, I, and I again. So that helps me know that the narrator is a character in the story. Well, what's the character that we've met? We have met Nate. And remember, Nate is a snake. So our narrator is Nate. And Nate is telling the story about himself. So this is considered first person. Also remember, snakes cannot really do what Nate does. So I know this is a fantasy story. Can you tell me some of the things Nate does that makes it fantasy? Yeah, they don't sleep in a bed with an alarm clock. What else? They don't wear a hat. How about in the picture over here? Yes, snakes don't take baths in bathtubs or play with rubber duckies. So we can tell that this is a fantasy story. Now let's look at page 18 and 19. I want you to listen as I reread page 18. At last, I am set and on my way there, but I think I still have some time to spare. The words say, but I think I still have some time to spare. Nate is talking about himself. So again, he is our narrator. He uses the word I. Let's take a look now at page 19. I wade in this lake as frogs hop away. I do not think they wish to play. So who is telling the story on this page? Is it Nate? Or is it the frogs? So who's telling the story? Well, let's take a look at what words we see. So it says, I wade in this lake as frogs hop away. I do not think they wish to play. Well, we notice that the I can't be the frogs because it says I wade in this lake as frogs hop away. Well, we see the frogs are hopping away. The story would say, if the frogs were telling the story, it would say, I hop away from a snake. But instead, it says the frogs are hopping away. So the frogs can't be telling the story because they aren't the I. The I is our snake here because it's what he sees is happening. The frogs are hopping away from him. Alrighty. We're going to go ahead and take a look at character, setting, and plot. Now, we've talked about character and setting before. Remember, the character is a person or an animal in a story. The setting is where and when the story takes place. So we can use that information to help us identify the characters and the setting. The plot, now that's a new word for us. Plot of a story is what happens at the beginning, middle, and end. Now, let's first talk about who is our main character in our story. Nate. Nate was our main character. And where was the story taking place? There were a couple places the story took place. It took place in his house. It also took place outside. And it took place at the library. So there's a couple different settings. Now, we're going to start with the beginning of the story, though. And we're going to think, what happens in the beginning? Well, in the beginning of the story, Nate wakes up and he does not want to be late. So that's what happens in the beginning. Nate wakes up at 8 o'clock and he does not want to be late. What happened in the middle of our story? I'm going to hop back over here. What's something that happened in the middle? Took a bathtub, bath. It looks like he waded in some water. He even took a nap at one point in the story. So what we could say happened in the middle of the story is Nate does many things, such as take a bath, wade in water, and even take a nap. Finally, we're going to say what happened at the end of the story. Well, think back. What happened at the end? Was he on time? No, he was late to the story time at the library, but his friends did wait for him. So we had what happened in the beginning. Nate wakes up. He doesn't want to be late. What happened in the middle? He did many things. And at the end, Nate was late to meet up with his friends. So think about that as you're reading. If you can go back through your story after you're done reading it and tell me 3 things that happened. The thing that happened in the beginning, what happened in the middle, and what happened at the end of the story. Practice that, okay? Have a great day.